Okay, picture this. You're a king. A massive, basically unstoppable army is heading your way, and they're about to completely crush your kingdom. Your generals, they're panicking. So what's your next move? What if I told you the winning strategy wasn't some bigger army or a clever trap, but a choir? Yeah, a choir. We're about to break down one of history's most bizarre and, believe it or not, successful military campaigns. A victory won not with swords, but with a song.
So the story kicks off with this terrifying message, the kind that just makes your blood run cold. A vast army is coming against you. Just try to imagine being King Jehoshaphat and hearing those words. This overwhelming force isn't just on its way, it's practically on your doorstep.
So, who exactly was this vast army? And what was really at stake here? Because this wasn't just some small border skirmish. Oh no, this was a full-blown existential threat to the entire kingdom.
What we're talking about is a coalition of armies, the Moabites, the Ammonites, and the Munites, all marching together from across the Dead Sea. Let's be clear, Judah had absolutely no hope of defeating this force with conventional military strength. The very survival of the kingdom was hanging by a thread.
So how did Jehoshaphat react? Well, the source material says he was alarmed. I mean, who wouldn't be? But here's the crucial part. His fear didn't paralyze him, and it didn't send him scrambling to his generals to draw up battle plans. Instead, it pushed him in a completely unexpected direction.
So instead of a war council, Jehoshaphat calls for what is essentially a national prayer meeting. And this is the exact moment his strategy takes a hard turn away from anything a typical king of his time would even think of doing.
He rolls out this very clear four-step public response. First, he makes up his mind to seek divine guidance. Then he proclaims a national fast, which is a huge deal, a sign of profound seriousness. Then he gathers everyone from every single town. And finally, in this incredible act of leadership, he stands up in front of the entire assembly and prays out loud for everyone to hear.
And get this prayer isn't some plea for strength in battle. It is a stunning public confession of total weakness. He says right there in front of his entire nation, we are powerless. We literally have no idea what to do. It's just this radical act of humility and a declaration of complete and utter dependence.
So you have the whole nation gathered. They're fasting. They're waiting. And the answer they get is, well, it's maybe one of the strangest military commands in all of history. It was the absolute last thing anyone there would have expected.
A prophet named Jahaziel delivers the message, and it just fundamentally reframes the entire conflict. Do not be afraid, he says, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Just like that, the pressure is off. They are told explicitly this battle is not their problem to solve.
Which, of course, raises the all-important question, right? If your only instruction is to not fight, then what in the world do you do? How do you prepare for a battle that isn't even yours? What does that game plan possibly look like?
The answer is it's just astonishing. The instruction? Appoint a choir to lead the army into battle. Their primary weapon wasn't going to be the spear or the sword. It was a song. They were literally told to march out with singers at the front, not their best soldiers.
And that brings us to the climax of the story. The army has its orders, the choir is in place, and they start marching towards an enemy that vastly, vastly outnumbers them, armed with this truly unconventional strategy. So as the army of Judah marches out, the choir starts to sing. And according to the text, the moment they began to sing and praise, the invading coalition was thrown into complete chaos. They turned on each other. The entire invading force just annihilated itself. So when Jehoshaphat's soldiers finally get to the lookout point, the fight is already over. They see nothing but dead bodies as far as the eye can see. They hadn't lifted a single finger in combat. They were just spectators to their own impossible victory.
The victory was so total, and the enemy was so well equipped, that it took them 3 full days just to collect all the plunder, all the equipment, the clothes, the valuables left behind. 3 days!
And to commemorate this whole thing, they named the place the Valley of Baraka, which literally means the Valley of Praise. The name of the place became a permanent physical reminder of the unique way this victory was won.
Now, after a victory that miraculous, it's really tempting to just close the book right there. Happy ending, roll credits. But the full story of Jehoshaphat's reign is, like most of history, a little bit more complicated than that.
I mean, in the short term, the results were exactly what you'd expect. The victory brought peace. Neighboring nations were in awe.
and Jehoshaphat enjoyed a long 25-year reign. But if you look beyond this one incredible event, the rest of his story reveals a few more layers.
His career is this really fascinating contrast. On one hand, you have a king who showed this profound faith in a crisis and was credited with doing what was right. But on the other hand, he failed to fully reform the nation's worship practices, and he made this disastrous political alliance with the wicked king Ahaziah, an alliance that ended with his entire trading fleet destroyed, just like a prophet had warned him. So, he was a great leader, for sure, but he wasn't a perfect one.
And so this ancient story leaves us with a really provocative question, doesn't it? In our own moments of overwhelming crisis, when we feel powerless and we just don't know what to do, Jehoshaphat's story really challenges our definition of strength. It asks us to think about where true power actually lies when all the conventional methods have already failed.